Well, good evening. Thank you all for tuning in to the Just Slay podcast. My name is Arshila Rochelle, and tonight we have a very special guest. We have the wonderful, beautiful Cindy Noir that will be joining us
Hello.
this evening. Cindy Noir is an advocate for self-love, for healing, living in your authentic truth, and being your authentic self. And so, with further ado, I will go ahead and let her introduce herself. Cindy Noir. Tell us about
Hi.
Cindy Noir is.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me on you all's podcast. I'm very blessed and excited to be here. I guess to kick off, Cindy Noir is actually, the name is actually a play on the character Black Cindy from Orange is the New Black. People always said that we kind of had similar personalities, and so I changed my Twitter name to Cindy Noir one day, just kind of a play on words, and then it kind of snowballed into this. So it initially started off as just a cute little play on words, but then when I actually began my TikTok this year, it kind of took off into its own personality and its own thing, and so it's gone from being this cute little name to not even really a persona. This is who I am. This is just under a different name. And this whole persona of me wearing the hoodie blanket and the bonnet, all of that just kind of came to be. I realized that Cindy Noir just kind of inhabits my authentic self. So when I first began my TikTok, I would post in my hoodie blanket and a bonnet for the reason being that I did not want to create an expectation from my audience where they would look to me to be done up, face done, hair done for every video. I knew then I'm not doing all of that for a minute video. I'm not doing that. So I made it a point to just start off with a bonnet and hoodie blanket because I didn't have the energy to continuously get dressed up for a minute video at most. But then it kind of evolved into having more of a meaningful purpose as far as wearing bonnets and hoodie blankets, because I noticed that I would get a lot of negative feedback about my wearing of bonnets and being told that, I should dress up in that. Why am I just rolling out the bed and recording a video? And I began to see that there's a lot of controversy around how Black women present themselves in media. And I didn't like it. And it really angered me because my messages are just as powerful. My words have just as much validity. Why do I have to be dressed a certain way for you to take me seriously? And so then this kind of became an act of rebellion in the sense of, you're going to this is what's going to happen. It's going to be this way. You're going to be okay with it. And if not, you can go, because it just became more of an alarming reality that Black women's bodies and how we present ourselves is policed way too much. It's ridiculous. And so Cindy Noir is a lot of things. She is, I'm not performing. I don't, put on Cindy Noir hat and I'm Cindy Noir. I am her. She is me. It's just that as time goes on and my content and my page develops, I realize that she has more meaning than I initially thought. So that's what I would say Cindy Noir is, yes.
Well, that is wonderful. I love that. Because you're not only telling people about being their authentic selves, you are actually showing up as your authentic self. And
Absolutely.
I feel like when you take away all the dress up in the garb or whatever, it makes you feel comfortable as you're talking, because you don't feel like you have to live up to anyone's expectation of what you should or shouldn't be. So I like that because it's different. It's different.
Thank you.
You're being your authentic self. Now, you went a little bit into it, but what would you say is your overall message, Cindy Noir?
The overall message really is to just be you, and that who you are is enough. And, a lot of times I see, especially on TikTok, women will get on a TikTok and the first 10 seconds of the video is her excusing her how she looks. Sorry, y'all, I haven't done my hair. Sorry, y'all, I look a hot mess. Sorry, y'all. Why are you apologizing?
Right.
Why are you feel the need to apologize because we don't look a certain way, And we all have our personal standards on how we want to look. That's one thing. But there is just this overall pressure for women to perform all the time. And I like that. I didn't see this happening at first with my initial plan of wearing hoodie blankets and bonnets, just being that I didn't feel like doing that myself. But then it kind of became where my page was kind of like a refuge and a place for people to come to relax and know that in this space, there is no need for getting dolled up. There is no need for fakeness. There is no need for any of that. I'm me. I want y'all to be you while I'm being me. And so I think the overall message is really just that who you are is enough. And you don't have to perform to get places. You don't have to put on a facade to get results. And so much of social media and just society now, the message is the exact opposite, that who you are is not enough, and you need to do things to make yourself enough to be able to function in society. And so I think that Cindy Noir and just my page and content, the overall message is that who you are as you are, perfectly imperfect, you are just fine. Let's just talk about how to learn to accept ourselves and view ourselves differently so we see just how whole we are. So yeah, that's what I would say that the overall message is for Cindy Noir. And that's my overall goal is getting out there is just people to understand that you are enough. And society, it's hard. It's one person going against society standards. So I know it's not necessarily easy, but I like to at least cultivate that feeling with my content, with my page. So yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love that whole message. I love it because it takes some of us a lifetime to get to that point in our lives where we understand that being who you are, being your authentic self, that's how your life will be so much better once you learn to accept who you are and be okay and understand that you are enough. You're not here to impress anybody. Just be you. Just show up every day, give your best, and be you. I love it. And so with that message, who's your target audience? Is it mainly women at a certain age, or are you also trying to reach younger women? Who's your target audience?
So I would say that my target audience is young Black women in their 20s. Because I feel like I wish I had like an older sister like me for when I was because I made so many mistakes in my early 20s. I'm 25, so I'm still in my 20s, but when I was in my early 20s, just coming out of teenagehood and all of that hormonal confusion, I really wish that I would have had someone who looked like me, speaking life into me, and getting me to see that, like, sis, you ain't got to do all of that. Like,
you're doing too much,
make your mistakes, but baby girl, the L's I took, so it's just, my goal is to talk to younger women who look like me and just show them that, like, you're going to make mistakes, that's okay, but there are some you'll have to make. And so listen to what, just take heed of what I'm talking about. So you ain't got to do the same things that I did, Fortunately, though, my messages impact a lot of people, different ages, different race. That's great. But when I first began talking about things I talk about, my initial goal was to talk to younger women who look like me. Because I just feel like we need more of us talking to one another, especially within our 20s. I feel like a lot of times people who give advice on the 20s aren't in their 20s. They're always older and out of the 20s scope. And that's fine and all, but the 20s, especially during this era, is not like any other 20s that anyone's ever experienced. So, our parents' 20s in the 90s, they were having jobs, kids,
everything.
They were established on their own. There was a whole different society, different economy. Everything was different. And so when we hear the advice of people who are no longer in their 20s trying to give us advice, now it's like, I hear you, but you don't get it because it's not the same thing as far as what we're dealing with on top of being in our 20s. And so I think it's really important for those of us who are growing through our 20s to kind of step up and say, what can I teach those who are earlier in this journey to kind of give them a heads up what to expect? I find that for me, that's more impactful than somebody who's in their 30s or 40s or older who has never touched 20s in this era. Our parents' 20s, there wasn't social media, there wasn't cell phones. So you can't really give me advice on how to be confident in my 20s when you don't have cell phone and social media telling you that without a Coke bottle figure, you're not pretty. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
It's just a different dynamic. So that's why I am targeting the younger 20s, because I just want to be a resource to those who are entering this decade confused and don't know what's going on. Just kind of be that kind of just big sister of like, hey, it's okay. It's going to be a little weird at times, but you're going to figure this out. You're going to be okay, So that's what my target audience is. Yeah.
And you know what? That's a perfect age because, like, when I first when I first heard of you, when I first learned who you were, and I first attended your webinar, I was like, oh my gosh, she is a wealth of knowledge. And I feel like at your age, you can impact so many more people because what you're saying resonates with a lot of people, even those that are, beyond your age. But it's different, I think, with someone from my age trying to talk to someone your age and say, you do this, you ain't got to do that, because I come from a different era. So I think, that's just outstanding. I like that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You're definitely inspirational to me. And
I
so,
appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you.
So is there any like life experiences that kind of helped you to get to where you are now? Like that helped to form these types of thoughts and ideas that you have now as Cindy Noir? I know you took that from, you played off of that as far as developing Cindy Noir, but you as a person, what experiences in life kind of helped you to get to where you are now?
A lot of mistakes.
We all got them, girl. We all got them.
It's funny because people often ask me, how did you learn all this wisdom? Where did you get it from? And while I do think that I do have like a spiritual gift as far as things I talk about, I also think that a big portion of it is I got to a point where I was making so many mistakes that I didn't have to make, where it was like, all right, we got to learn at some point. What do I have to do to where I'm not making these same mistakes over and over again? I think that was the life event that kind of formed all of my lessons, is the fact that I stopped making the mistakes and started trying to learn from them and trying to change my behavior so I won't make the mistakes anymore. I think a lot of people make a mistake of not looking at the potential of what a mistake is. And we look at mistakes as something to be ashamed of, but really mistakes are potential for a lot of lessons to learn, to then be better and not make the same mistake again. So I found that for me, I was 22 and looking for love in all the wrong places. My priorities were out of whack. I wasn't valuing me properly. Had no boundaries. I mean, I was just fumbling terribly. And it was at 22 that I was like, all right, girl, we are really wilding out here. And if we continue down this path, we're going to make some kind of mistake that we cannot undo. Let's sit down. Let's take a little break, a little breather, and let's figure out what's going on, because I don't like how I'm behaving. I don't like what I'm allowing, and I don't like what I'm putting up with. And it should not be, I don't think this is our only option. I think we have more options than just this. And so I would say that was my life experience that made me the culmination of all of those mistakes, and then realizing, is stopping and looking back and going, something ain't right, girl. Something ain't right. I don't know. Something ain't right.
I know it's more. I know it's more to it than this.
Yes, there's got to be more to life than the L's I'm taking. It can't be this subpar, So it was that kind of realization of, let's stop and regroup. That was what made all those mistakes turn into lessons that I then began talking about. Because when I would figure out a lesson, my immediate response would be, I got to tell this people, because people have to know. If you just know this little tidbit, you won't do what I did, And it's like, the more that I figured out and learned, the more I just had this passion to talk about it, because it's like, I know I'm not the only one who is putting up with men who know how to act. I know I'm not the only one. And if women just knew this little tidbit that I wish I would have known, that could possibly decrease the discomfort that I felt having to make that kind of mistake, So that's what I say where that turning point would come from, was just taking that, just stopping and realizing that I didn't like how I was behaving, and then trying to change my behavior. So yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, because a lot of people struggle with that. They struggle with just understanding that that's part of life, making mistakes. You're going to make mistakes. But the important part, what you said, is that I stopped and I looked at everything that was going on, and I said, no, there has to be a change somewhere. I got to do something different. So that's very profound. Yeah. And that's definitely something that, the young people can actually take and learn from that you can't stop and say, hey, take inventory. Let me look at this. It ain't working. So who would you say has been your biggest inspiration in life?
That's always a hard question because I've learned to not put people on pedestals in a sense. And so I've had people in my life who have inspired me. My high school dance teacher, she inspired me. My mother inspires me. I've had people in my life that I look up to. However, my overall inspiration, not to sound conceited, but me, in the sense of the me that I want to be, the me that there's a mental image that I have that if I continue to be my authentic self and strive to be a motivational speaker, I will be her. And so just how vivid that image is, I just see it's just a vivid image of me on stage and in a sea of thousands of people just talking. And I've had that mental image for years now. And it's like, it feels so real. I can even feel the heat and the warmth of the lights from the stage on my skin. Like it feels so vivid. And that image just pushes me to keep going because I'm not there yet, So I would like to say that I inspire me because I've come a long way, and it's like you've come way too far to just stop now. And so between, that mental image and just looking at my story and loving how far I've come, but knowing that I got some more work to go and I got more places to go, that inspires me to keep going. Outside of me, I would say my audience inspires me because they look to me to provide them with a certain level of guidance. And it's like, I can't slack. And it's not even in an unhealthy pressure way. It's, I've chosen to step up and, say these things. That is a commitment that I've made. That is a responsibility that I take very seriously. And I would not be doing my due diligence if I were to slack off now, because I can't sign up for this kind of responsibility and then be like, all right, that's enough.
Right.
This is fun. This is cute. Y'all have a great day. No, this is I've opened up the Pandora's box and I got to go through all of it. And so I would say that my audience inspires me to keep going because y'all are watching me and I'm watching myself too. Should we all watch and see what I do? But
right.
It really, whenever I have somebody reach out to me and talk about how my content has inspired them and in the ways in which it's inspired them, it's like, oh yeah, I got to keep going. I got to keep going because there's no way that I can have an impact on somebody like that and just stop.
Right.
I would say between me and my audience, that's where the bulk of my inspiration comes from. Absolutely.
That is so beautiful. And I'm gonna tell you why that's beautiful, what you said. Because we're always a work in progress. And then where you came from and you see who you manifested into or who it is you are wanting to manifest into. And they're two totally different it's the same person, but it's really two people because you're not who you were before. So saying that I am my own inspiration, man, that's pretty deep. That's pretty beautiful because
thank you.
Giving yourself credit because I've evolved. I'm not the same person. So
absolutely.
And I became who I wanted to be. Love that.
Thank you.
If there was anybody that you could meet, like anybody, whatever, whoever, who would that be? If there was one person that you could meet.
I'm already speaking into existence because I'd love to meet her, but Issa Rae.
Yeah, Issa Rae.
I cannot wait till I get to sit across from the table with Issa Rae. It's coming. I can feel it in my bones. It's coming.
Yes.
At some point. But she is amazing. She is such great. I've been a fan of her since the Awkward Black Girl series on YouTube. So I've watched her career, and she's just inspired me as far as what believing in yourself gets you. Because to go from seeing her making this series on YouTube to having her own HBO show to having her own production company, like just watching her just grow like that, just off of the strength of her believing in herself, it is just inspiring. And so I look forward to meeting her. It's not even I just look forward to it. It's coming at some point.
That's right. Speaking into existence, girl.
Exactly.
She's unstoppable, and you're unstoppable too. So you're gonna meet her. It's gonna be a day you meet her, and it's just amazing to see so many Black women just going after what it is that they desire and not having any
Absolutely.
regret about it. And like you said, stepping into who you are and being your authentic self and not feeling the pressure to have to do something different or look different or whatever. So
Absolutely.
I'm definitely all for rebellion. I like
Yes.
it because it's yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's getting me outside of that box. It's getting me out of that comfort zone. So that's pretty amazing. So as a Black woman, what are some of the changes you would like to see in our community, and how will you contribute to that change?
Um, I would like for people to mind their business. That's really what
Just
I
get
want.
high five through
I
the
really want people
screen.
to mind their
High
business.
five.
Because especially with this whole bonnet thing, watching the whole social media discourse of Black women wearing bonnets in public was astounding to me, because it was like, why does what she wear matter to you? Why does it matter to you? And it honestly activated my inner petty to say, okay, y'all don't want us to wear bonnets. You should have told me that. I wear bonnets in public all the time now. I hardly ever wear my hair out. So much so I've even gone to creating my own bonnet line, different color bonnets. Because it's just amazing to me how people, like the assumptions, the things people were saying. Oh, if you wear a bonnet in public, you don't bathe, you don't take care, you don't care about yourself, you don't value how you look. And it's like a covering of your hair now all of a sudden means you're dirty. Just the magnifying glass that is on Black women is crazy to me. Meanwhile, a Becky can walk out of the house with her hair freshly washed, and that's okay. But me covering my hair in a silk covering is me deemed as being unkept and dirty and not caring about my appearance. Excuse me. So it just, I would like to see people mind their business about Black women and just give us a space to just be us. If I am in the grocery store with the bonnet on because I'm wanting to get 2 things from the grocery store and run back home, that's my business. If I'm in the grocery store because I feel like it wearing a bonnet, that's my business. I don't understand why there is so much scrutiny in what Black women do. If we wear our hair straight, it's a problem. If we wear our hair natural, it's a problem. If we wear braids, it's a problem. If we do locks, it's a problem. If we wear bonnets, something is always a problem. And it's just, I don't know what it was about the whole bonnet thing, but I just it struck me personally, and I just figured, you know what? Y'all are going to get used to bonnets.
Well,
You're
you know
going to
what?
get used to bonnets. And
I got a surprise for you. Listen here. Listen here, baby. We finna be sitting here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Listen here.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
I ain't come to play, Cindy Noir. I ain't come to play. Now.
That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about.
Told you I had a surprise
Absolutely.
for you, boo. You like it?
Absolutely.
You like
I
it?
love to see it. I love to see it. Love it. And see, aren't you comfortable?
I am very comfortable, honey.
Absolutely.
I'm very
Absolutely. Love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I decided recently, I've been getting more offers for interviews, and I've been teeter-tottering because I'm like, okay, do I want to wear the bonnet and the hoodie blanket in my interviews, or do I want to dress for an interview, And for the first few interviews, I did dress up or put on actual clothes and wear my hair out. But I've decided that no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to make people very uncomfortable with my comfort, because y'all watch my TikToks and I'm wearing my bonnet and hoodie blanket. If you're asking me to be on your show, that's how you're going to see me. That's how you saw me before, And I really want to, aside from what I talked about, I also want to subtly push the envelope of seeing Black women in bonnets. I want to wear bonnets every time you see me on someone's show. I want to be in a bonnet. And so I'm excited to kind of push the envelope and push that narrative of folks minding their business.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, allow people to be who they are. Everybody else gets to be who they are. Everyone else gets to leave their house whatever they have on, flip-flops,
Exactly.
booty shorts, whatever. And no one is criticizing them or judging them. So,
Exactly.
it's time out for us judging Black women and, being extra hard on them, making them feel as though that, they have to be made up for the gods, honey, every time they step out the house. That is not the case. And that's not what you're going to get.
Exactly. Absolutely.
So recently, you went viral on TikTok as you addressed some of these stereotypes of Black women and Black relationships, should I say. So can you tell us a little bit about that? What brought that about? Like for the people that may not have seen it, kind of tell us. It was very enlightening. I loved it. It needed to be said, honey. It needed to be said.
So I love just shaking the table. That's kind of what I enjoy doing. I like to say things and get people kind of just to sit in their seat a little, I enjoy making that kind of reaction. And so I stitched a video to Jonah Hall of her saying that most men are not married who they're attracted to. They're married to who their friends are attracted to. And I completely agree. And so I just went on a small little tangent about how the male gaze really impacts men a lot more than it does women in a sense, because a lot of men will find an array of women attractive. However, who they actually choose to be with and or marry is heavily influenced by what their friends think or what men in their life will say if they're seen with this kind of woman. And so in the video, I use the example of a lot of men find plus size women attractive. However, due to societal's fat phobia overall, they don't want to actually commit to a plus size woman. They would rather commit to a smaller woman that's deemed more socially acceptable, because they would rather not experience being picked on or made fun of by their friends. And they'd rather be with someone smaller that's more social acceptable to avoid that kind of ridicule. And I got a lot of feedback. I got a lot of people who, you're absolutely wrong, that's not the case, and oh my God, they can say what they want to say. That was my perception, my perspective. But I know for a fact that there are a lot of plus size women, myself included, that can attest to men who would like to be with us intimately, but when it came down to actually committing to us, are excuses. There's, I'm not really in the space for that right now, this, that, the third. And then y'all break up, and then there was somebody who's smaller in public, and it's a whole different ball game. A lot of us can attest to that experience. So I know it's real for some of us. I know that is a real thing. If it didn't apply to you, cool. But the fact of the matter is, a lot of men function in their dating lives based off of trying to impress their friends. And so that's what that video was about. It was just about highlighting how much men don't date from what they want and what makes them happy, truly makes them happy. Yeah.
Yeah. And, and when I saw that video, it resonated with me so much because I've been on opposites. I've been on both sides of the spectrum. I remember when I was very, very small, it was, you ain't got enough butt. You ain't this, you're too skinny, you ain't got nothing. Then, I've been over 200 pounds. I'm not 200 now, but I've been over 200 pounds. And you could tell that you've met men that really like who you are. They like your personality, they like everything about you. But because you're not 150 or 140 or 30 or 20, they have nothing to do with you. And I think that's very sad, and it's very shallow, that you can meet someone that you're highly attracted to, but because of something that can be worked on, something that can be done together, you choose not to be with them. But somebody that has very low core values, very low standards, and because of how they look, you give them a chance, a chance. And like you said, the friends influence who you go with because of the fact of who you decide to be with, because it to you is more about an image. I got to be with somebody that looks a certain way. It's the same thing that they do with the hair stuff. Not wanting to be with you because your hair is natural, it's not straight and long or whatever. So yes, ma'am. That was a video that definitely needed to be done. A topic that really it was right on point and right on target, because that's exactly what we go through.
Absolutely.
So, with everything that you've been through, because you've been through a lot. I mean, I've heard you speak about your life and
Mhm.
your life journey. So, what would you say has helped you in your healing process? And what did that look like for you?
Um, I think the biggest thing that helped me in my healing was grace,
Mm,
because we can be really hard on ourselves and feeling like we have all these problems and all these issues and all these flaws. We're such a flawed human, and oh my goodness, and you can get so caught up in that before. But for me, once I got to a point where I realized you are not perfect. Like, you're not designed to be perfect. Stop trying to get to this point of being perfect. There is no end goal of perfection. It doesn't exist. And that humans are flawed. We all have flaws. We all have something. And even though my thing might not be your thing, I might not want your thing, you know? So it's like we all have something. And my healing didn't actually really begin to stick until I stopped viewing myself as a problem. Not a
mm,
problem. I have things about me that I wanted to work on, but those things didn't make me a problem. I'm still very much worthy of love, very much worthy of happiness and peace, as I am with all these problems and flaws. Because I definitely felt like with healing, I had to get to a certain point to then be worthy of good treatment. No, I deserve it today. Even though I'm not all the way 100%, I deserve it right now, you know? And so
that's
I
right.
had to, it took me a while to get there, but I had to get to a point where I just gave me grace. And I just said, because I kind of, there was a point in my healing where I viewed healing as a destination
Mm-hmm.
and not an overall journey. And I viewed it as I need to fix these issues so that I can then enjoy the fruits of my labor and enjoy life. And that is not really a healthy way to view working on yourself, because you then view yourself as a problem that needs to be fixed. So I will say that when I finally just took a nice deep breath and relaxed and said, this is an ongoing lifelong journey, I will always have things about me that are not perfect, that will be imperfect, and that's okay. And when I was able to kind of just breathe and just walk through the healing process, it made things a lot easier and it made things more able to stick. Because I wasn't trying to rush through and pass all the tests. I was just trying to
Yeah.
actually learn and grow. But when I viewed me as a problem, I was just trying to do what I had to do to pass the test. I didn't even view it as trying to grow and evolve. So that's what I would say. I gave me more grace, and I let me just be imperfect and realize that, like, you're okay with being
Yeah.
imperfect, you know? Um, and once I finally accepted the fact that I'll never be perfect, it was a weight lifted, because as long as you imagine and try to hold yourself to a standard of being perfect and perfection, you will never be satisfied, ever. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how much you do, no matter how much work and effort you put into healing yourself, whatever the case may be, you will never be satisfied. And that is just a always losing battle. And so removing that expectation from away from you helps you to just be proud of your progress.
That's
Like,
right.
I was never enjoying the progress. I wasn't really enjoying anything of healing because I hadn't gotten to the end goal yet, you know? So yeah, removing the expectation to be perfect and giving myself grace and understanding that this journey is forever going. It's not just you heal for a few years and now you're done. Here's your certificate. Here's your medal. That's not what happens. It is a forever thing. So yeah,
Girl,
I think
that was I'm telling you, every time I listen to you, I learn something else. What did you say? Say that again. What you said about it's not about healing, is not about your destination. You said it was something else you said after that. Healing is not
yeah.
about the end goal or your destination.
There isn't an end goal to healing. It is a forever process. And once you commit to wanting to, healing is really just understanding and learning who you are and learning to accept who you are. That really is the base of healing. And when you're looking at healing as just trying to get through these messes, these problems, and figure you out so you can be done with it. And then once I heal, then I get a man. Once I heal, then I get friends. Once I heal, then I get this job. When you view healing like that, you're not going to have a good experience, because you're looking at healing as a destination point that you need to get to a certain point to then have the things you deserve. And the reality is, you deserve those things all along. It's
Mm,
just a matter of you're learning things about yourself and learning who you are more and more along the process. But healing is not a destination. It is a commitment to yourself that you commit to devoting time to learning about you and learning to accept who you are. That's what healing is. Yeah.
Oh man, that is just yes. Yes. Okay. I love it. I love it.
Thank you.
So what has been your biggest fear and your biggest faith builder?
This was a hard question. I guess for right now, my biggest fear would be, which I doubt will happen, but getting to a point where I can no longer be my authentic self, or feeling like getting to a certain point of exposure where I feel like I have to perform now. I never want to get to a point where I stop being me. I never want to get to a point where y'all start seeing me glammed up on interviews and just ditching what got me here. I never want to ditch this, because this is just, it really is who I am. And so at this point in my quest of exposure and trying to become more well-known, I fear societal pressure getting to me, I guess you could say. Usually I don't care about society's expectations of me. I don't really care, but I've never really been so well known to where I'm having a lot of people putting opinions on me. I look at celebrities like Lizzo. I look at Lizzo and how she can't do anything without someone having heinous, vile opinions on her. And it's like, I look at that and I'm kind of like, oh Lord. How are people going to react when they see me on CNN with the bonnet? Like, what are they going to do? How are people going to respond to see me on the Daily Show on TV with a bonnet and a hoodie blanket? It kind of freaks me out a little bit, but then I realize, I'm here for a reason. I'm here to, shake these tables for a reason, and I can't just stop now. But I kind of fear the exposure too, I guess what you say. I'm kind of more of I'm not behind the scenes by any means, but I am a little bit introverted. And so, I know the more I talk, the more attention that I gain, and that attention brings more attention. And so it just, there are times where I'm just kind of like, whew, people know me. The people, recognize my face and they hear my voice, So I would say that I fear exposure and I fear the loss of my authentic self. But my biggest faith builder, I would say through all of it, is kind of similar to the inspirational thing, is seeing how far I've come and how I've gotten this far, and I have not ditched who I am. So why would I ditch who I am now? Also on top of that, as far as exposure goes, this is my purpose. I'm walking in my purpose. And sometimes walking in your purpose can be a little intimidating, because It's like, y'all want me to do all this? Y'all think little old me can do all of this? It can be a little intimidating, but then I have to remind myself that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for me. And so, I have my fears, but fears are oftentimes just a mind game. And so I try not to let them get to me too much. But that's what I would say my faith builder would be, just remembering who I am and remembering this is my purpose. And that,
That's
it
right.
can be a little overwhelming at times, but I'm here for a reason. So
that's right. And you got a message for the people that they need to hear. So if they want to just concentrate on what you have on instead of the message behind what you taught, what you're bringing, then that's on them. They're missing the whole message altogether. It's all
I completely agree. I feel like if, as many profound things as I'm saying, in my opinion, if you are more fixated on what I'm wearing, then my message clearly isn't for you. So
exactly,
that's just kind of how
what you're wearing is part of the message, and they didn't get that. So if they have issues, you didn't get what the whole purpose of what I'm doing.
Exactly.
So it is a message. So with everything that's going on in the world, if Cindy Noir had a say in how the world functions in 2022, what would she say or do to make that happen?
Make therapy free.
Ooh. Fist bump through the camera. Listen. Expound on that.
Make therapy affordable, feasible, free. It should be like government mandated, because at this point, I'm just looking at from the pandemic, not even considering other life issues and life things, just the pandemic. this pandemic has been so mentally traumatizing and emotionally traumatizing to people. And for therapy to still be a privilege and not a guaranteed right by citizens is crazy. We're not okay. And the way that this country is just opening back up and trying to return to normal when we have experienced such loss and such a drastic shift in our normalcy is delusional to me. I think that for y'all to expect, not for y'all, but for like the government and our country to expect for us to just go back to work after a year of everything being turned upside down and so much loss and so much grief, it is ludicrous to me. And so I really feel like therapy should be free. And I think the government should be paying therapists salaries, because we need community. We need to be able to talk about these things and be able to process what just happened to us, because it's still happening. And it actually is happening worse than how it happened when it first hit. So it's like just this whole idea of we're just going to experience all of this change and grief and then just go back to normal with no downtime, no processing, no nothing. It is not realistic. And I feel like at this point we are a ticking time bomb as far as people just losing it, especially in the medical field. The medical field, I don't even know how people are still going to work. I don't know, because the things they're seeing are just, I can't even imagine. So I would say therapy should be free. I don't know why we're still waiting on insurance and co-pays, and that we need access to therapy. Absolutely.
Yes, ma'am. I agree 100%. We are past that stage of therapy having to be something that you go through your insurance. It needs to be offered to everyone, because like you said, and I mentioned this to Jonah and some other people, it's just like those of us that have been in the military. You know, once you return from combat service, PTSD. And when you think of everything that we have had to endure for the last, we're not going to talk about the whole 4 or 5 years. We're going to talk about just these last 2 years or a year and a half of what we've gone through with the pandemic. That alone, you know, people have PTSD. That's what it is, post-traumatic stress syndrome. So I don't understand, but you're definitely right. And I hope that the right people see this. It needs to be free. It needs to be offered readily. It needs to be readily available to everyone. And you shouldn't have to have insurance. So I totally agree.
Yeah.
Well, our time has come to an end, my love. I really enjoyed talking with you. You're such a beautiful soul. And I just look forward to the day when I can see you on the big screen on CNN and it's the Ray having lunch together or talking or, you know, everything. You're going to go so far. And I love it. And I love to see you just move on up, honey. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I really appreciate everything you said. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I wish I could give you a hug, but I'll give you a virtual hug.
Oh, we give a virtual. We'll give a virtual. Yes.
And is there any way that the audience, anyone, if they wanted to follow you on social media, is there any way they can reach out, like follow you?
Absolutely. I'm not sure if you can type it or anything, but my TikTok, my Instagram, and my Twitter page all have the same @ of Ebony_QT, and it's spelled EBONIE_ the letter Q and the letter T. I'm on those platforms. I am bringing back my show, Unclenched Beloved. It is a podcast and YouTube show that'll be coming back within the next week and a half or so. So stay tuned for that. And that's called Unclenched Beloved. Unclench and Beloved. So I have some ways you can get to me. The podcast is on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. So yeah, I have some means of people being able to find me. Yeah. All
right. Well, it's been a pleasant time talking with you, and I hope that we get to do this again sometime soon or in the future. So you have a great evening, and thank you again for this wonderful interview for Just Slay. We love you to pieces, my love.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And y'all have a great evening.
All right. You do the same.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.